There comes a point when you realize the biggest battle is not against the obstacle in front of you. It is against the version of you that keeps stepping away from the obstacle too early. Not because you are weak, not because you do not care, but because staying with something difficult asks for a different kind of strength. It asks you to remain present when your mind wants a shortcut. It asks you to keep your standards when comfort starts negotiating. It asks you to do the small, honest thing even when nobody is watching and nothing looks dramatic. That is where real growth begins. Most people think discipline is loud. They imagine intensity, heavy music, extreme routines, impossible schedules, and never feeling tired. But real discipline is often quiet. It is putting your phone down when you promised yourself one focused hour. It is taking the walk after a long day because your body needs care, not punishment. It is opening the book again after you failed to understand the first chapter. It is choosing not to speak to yourself with disrespect when you make a mistake. Discipline is not about becoming a machine. It is about becoming someone you can count on. And that happens one quiet win at a time. A quiet win does not always look impressive. It may not get applause, it may not be posted, praised, or even noticed, but it matters. Because every time you keep a small promise, you send a message to yourself. You say, I am not abandoning myself today. I am not waiting for motivation to rescue me. I am building a life from the inside out. That message adds up. Think about the person training for a race. The powerful moment is not only the finish line, it is the cold evening run when they wanted to skip. It is the slow mile when their legs felt heavy. It is the choice to stretch, recover, eat well, and try again tomorrow. The medal is visible, but the identity was built in private. Think about the student learning something difficult. Confidence does not appear because the subject suddenly becomes easy. Confidence appears when they survive confusion without quitting, when they ask another question, when they rewrite the notes, when they stop saying, I am bad at this, and start saying, I am learning how this works. That is a quiet win. Think about someone rebuilding after disappointment. Maybe a plan failed, maybe a relationship changed, maybe progress disappeared for a while. The loud world tells them to bounce back instantly, to act unshaken, to pretend nothing hurt. But real resilience might be simpler. Getting dressed, cleaning the room, making the call, returning to the routine, choosing one responsible action when emotions are messy. That counts. Do not underestimate the power of doing the right thing on an ordinary day. Ordinary days are where your future is formed, not in one grand decision, but in the pattern you repeat when life feels normal, inconvenient, boring, or uncomfortable. The danger is that small choices seem too small to matter. Missing one workout, delaying one task, ignoring one boundary, breaking one promise to yourself. None of it seems serious in the moment, but the same is true in the other direction. One page, one set, one honest conversation. 1 hour of focused work. One meal that supports your energy. One early night. One deep breath before reacting. Small is not the opposite of powerful. Small is how powerful things begin. You do not need to rebuild your entire life today. You need to identify the next honest action and do it with respect. Not perfectly, not dramatically, respectfully. If your mind is cluttered, clear one surface. If your body feels neglected, move for 10 minutes. If your goal feels too big, define the next step so clearly that you cannot hide from it. If you have been avoiding a conversation, prepare your words and approach it with courage. If you have been doubting yourself, stop demanding proof from the future and start creating proof with today's behavior. This is how self-trust returns. Self-trust is not built by imagining a better version of yourself. It is built by meeting yourself in the moment you usually escape. The moment you are tempted to scroll instead of start. The moment you want to react instead of pause. The moment you feel embarrassed because you are a beginner. The moment you are tired but still capable of one careful step. You do not have to win the whole war in that moment. You only have to win the next choice. And if you lose the next choice, do not turn it into a story about your entire character. Correct quickly. Return quickly. Learn quickly. Shame makes you freeze. Responsibility helps you move. There is a difference between being honest with yourself and attacking yourself. One builds strength, the other drains it. You are allowed to be human while you grow. There will be days when your effort feels invisible. Days when the results do not match the work. Days when other people seem ahead while you're still repeating basics. Let them be ahead. Let them be loud. Let the comparison pass through without taking control of your hands. Your job is not to live their timeline. Your job is to keep building yours. The strongest people are not always the ones who look confident from the outside. Sometimes they are the ones who learn to continue without constant reassurance. They learn to act while uncertain. They learn to recover without turning pain into an identity. They learn to keep standards without hating themselves. They learn that confidence is not a feeling you wait for. It is a relationship you build with your own actions. So ask yourself, what is one quiet win I can claim today? Not the biggest thing, not the perfect thing, the honest thing. Maybe it is finishing the task you keep postponing. Maybe it is training with focus instead of trying to impress anyone. Maybe it is saying no without over-explaining. Maybe it is forgiving yourself, then proving you are serious by changing the next decision. Maybe it is sitting down, removing distractions, and giving your best attention to the work that matters. Choose one, then do it fully. Do it even if the mood is not there. Do it even if the room is silent. Do it even if nobody claps. Because the reward is not only the result, the reward is becoming someone who does not need perfect conditions to act with integrity. That kind of person is hard to stop. Quiet wins become a quiet confidence. Quiet confidence becomes steady action. Steady action becomes a life that feels earned, not because everything was easy, but because you kept showing up for the things that mattered. Today, do not chase a dramatic transformation. Build one solid piece. Keep one promise. Take one clean step. Protect 1 hour. Choose one response you will be proud of later. Let the world be noisy. You can be steady. And when the day ends, you may not have changed everything. But you will know this. You did not abandon yourself. You moved your life forward in a way that counts. That is how strength grows. That is how confidence returns. That is how you become undeniable to yourself. One quiet win today.